100 FM The Pike, Worcester's rock station, Twisted Sister. On the line right now, we have MassLive sports writer and Westboro's own Matt Vautour here. And every year we talk to each other about Matt's predictions. Every year he makes these amazing predictions for the upcoming year. Well, I mean, seriously, Matt, first of all, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Your predictions last year, you nailed a couple of those. I mean, they were pretty good. Was this your best batch of them yet? Your best batch of predictions yet?
It is. It's like the blind squirrel stumbled into a pile of acorns here in this situation. If you go back to some of the other ones, there's been some pretty brutal predictions, and I've already got one wrong on my 25.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that.
1.5 wrong, but I will celebrate my 2024 predictions as long as I can, because I don't anticipate that this is a start of a trend. I'm not predicting that it's start of a trend.
This isn't some kind of Oklahoma Thunder tear you're going to be going on here, right?
No.
Well, last year, let's go over the real quick, just a couple from last year. In 2024, you said Bill Belichick will not be the Patriots head coach in 2024. Nailed it. And then right after that, Patriots will hire Jerod Mayo as head coach. Nailed that too. So
I did.
Right away. And then we'll talk about what became of all that here in just a second. Obviously, there is some Patriots news today. Another one that was really amazing. The Bruins will advance to the second round. Well, you were right, and you were only one game off. I think they were playing the Leafs in the first round, and they got it in 7, and you said they were going to do it in 6. Still, that's pretty good. And then they got bumped out by Florida.
Yeah, I felt pretty pleased with that. I thought they'd come in with a different mindset, and I thought they'd be hungry after the way things had gone the year before. But I didn't think talent-wise, especially given some of their salary cap problems, I didn't think they'd be good enough to make a deep run. So that one was less crystal ball and a little bit trying to read hockey, which I spent a lot of time around.
Yeah. They don't seem very hungry this year. It seems like they had a snack before dinner this year.
I don't know if hunger is the problem, but it's been a really strange fit of trying to. There's been some square pegs and round holes. And some issues.
Banner 18 for the Celtics is coming. Nailed it.
So
yeah,
I'm happy to take credit for that, but I mean, I said, okay, the team that's the best team in the NBA at the halfway point will still be the best team in the NBA at the end. I like. Great, good job, me. I'll pat myself on the back, but I think there was probably a lot of people that would have nailed that one correctly.
Yeah. Well, you have a prediction about them in your 2025 ones. We'll talk about that in a second. Last year you predicted the Super Bowl would be the Niners and the Ravens. You were half right there. It was the Niners and the Chiefs, and those are the good ones. And what is that your dog is saying?
Yeah, my dog is losing his mind in the background. I'm not sure exactly what's happening there.
Your dog is saying that they shouldn't have signed Swayman. Is that what he was saying back there?
I think thinks Zadorov got too much money.
Yes. Yeah, I could hear that. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to 2025. Your first one right off. Robert Kraft won't fire Jerod Mayo.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Scene.
How many days are we into?
Hours.
Now? Nice job, Matt. The funny thing is, I'm sitting there last night. I came back upstairs after the press conference, and I went to get myself a soda, and I looked down at my phone, and I was like, "Oh wow, that was fast." And my second thought was, "Oh, Mike's going to kill me tomorrow morning."
First one on the list. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Were you surprised at how fast it happened, and that it happened at all?
I didn't think it was going to happen at first, because I think Kraft was so kind of enamored with Mayo and loved the idea of him. Kraft loved the idea of picturing that he could see this greatness in Mayo and didn't want to. And I thought he wouldn't want to give up on that fast. And so to that end, I will give him credit. He recognized that this wasn't likely going to get better. And I think he did it quickly, and I think he did it with less hesitation, because Mike Vrabel rumors and things are out there,
Yeah.
and for not just for the Patriots, but I mean, Mike Vrabel interviewed with the Jets, and can you imagine if Robert Kraft felt like that he let somebody that he knows, likes, and would trust got away from him to the Jets while his own situation was getting worse?
Yeah.
I think the speed kind of pushes that in the direction.
Can you add a prediction to your list? You think Vrabel's gonna be here for the next season?
I do think it's going to be Vrabel now.
Okay.
I think Vrabel wants it. I think a lot of the things Vrabel is doing publicly is him putting the little black dress on and flicking his eyelashes at the Krafts right now, being like, "Hey, I'm here. This can happen if you try." So I do think it's unless something goes wrong, I think it's going to be Vrabel.
Now I have an image of Mike Vrabel in a little black dress and eyelashes for the rest of the day. Thanks for
You're
that,
going to be
Matt.
typing that. You're going to be typing that into your AI
That's right.
photo generator.
No. So I heard Gronk, Rob Gronkowski was saying that he thinks there may be a Vrabel McDaniels reunion here. You think that's possible at all?
McDaniels would be an interesting decision right now, simply because his offense is considerably different than the one the Patriots have been running under Alex Van Pelt. And that might be a good thing to some degree, but if you're trying to develop Drake May, if you're trying to move him along at a steady pace, completely changing the offense is not necessarily the greatest idea. Now, maybe they'll do that. Now, my question with Gronk is he doesn't strike me as somebody that is studying the landscape of coaching candidates. And I know Gronk's not a dumb guy, but I don't think this is his. I don't think this is the way he spends his time. And so I think you picked McDaniels because he knows Vrabel, and he knows McDaniels, and he knows they know each other, and you could put that together. But I'd be surprised. Well, I'd be surprised if it happened. A little surprised if that happened. There's reasons to kind of look elsewhere if you're Vrabel as well.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you that. Do you think they should go with somebody who didn't have a past with the organization? That maybe they should bring somebody in fresh who had nothing to do ever with the Patriots.
So the kind of the ideal thing about Vrabel is this: he didn't coach under Bill.
Right.
And so Bill Belichick's assistants have a history of failing as NFL head coaches. Vrabel played for Bill, and so he kind of understands the history, understands the organization. But his coaching chops, are independent of that. And I think that probably gives him a little bit of the best of both worlds in that respect, and I think that's potentially a pretty big asset for him.
Speaking of Bill Belichick, you're saying he's going to go 8-5 in the regular season at North Carolina.
I think he's going to be fine. I don't think he's going to be outstanding. I think he'll be fine, but I'm not looking at him and thinking this is that he's going to be in the playoffs next year. There are more things in college football than just X's and O's.
Right.
He has to get guys, he has to retain guys, and he has to have a situation there where they can pay guys now, which is in the new kind of world of college football. And so I think that for him, that's not going to necessarily be easy to do quickly. He may get there, and I do think he'll make some smart decisions in terms of system. I think he'll probably recognize some things he can take advantage of rules wise in terms of like loopholes. I'm not talking about any kind of like cheating or anything like that, but like Bill Belichick was smarter about the clock and certain things that you could pull off with the clock in the NFL than almost anybody for a long time. And I think he'll probably do some of that in college as well. I just don't think it's going to be an instantaneous, oh my God, these guys who were 12 the last time Bill Belichick was the king of football,
right,
are going to instantly be like, I got to go play for that guy. And when you think of all of the nitwit NFL players that complain that playing for Bill Belichick isn't fun, well, the reason that you take that stand as an NFL player is lack of maturity. Well, these guys are built in with lack of maturity because they're only, they're still
right,
college guys. I wasn't mature at that age. I'm not criticizing him for that, but I think it will be a little harder for him at times. And so I could be wrong, but that's
you could be wrong on these. No, Matt. No, not on your. No.
I think he'll be good. I don't think he'll be outstanding.
All right, and then moving on to the Celtics. You called for Banner 18 last year. Now you're saying the Celtics will lose in the Eastern Conference Finals. They won't make it all the way this year.
So you've noticed a little bit lately, Porzingis has been a little injured. Jaylen Brown's been injured at times. I think this team at some point is due to run out of gas a little bit. I think they're still incredibly talented. I think they're still really good. I just think you had not only had a deep run in the playoffs, you then had guys, Derek White, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, go to the Olympics. Then they started their season with the stuff in Dubai. At some point, there's this it's gonna wear on them a little bit, and so you get to the Eastern Conference against a team that's a little hungrier, a little fresher. We say Cleveland Cavaliers in this spot. I think it's a legit shot that they fizzle a little bit, and which is a pretty natural thing for great teams.
Right. I mean, it all depends how healthy you are, really, in any of the sports at the end of the season by playoff time.
Right.
Yeah. Let's move on to the Red Sox. You say they will lose in the wild card round. I don't even think they're going to make it that far, even though you are saying Garrett Crochet will go 15-6 this year. I don't think that'll be enough still for this team.
I'm historically the statistic thing is just me like asking for trouble. Like to say that those two guys are both going to be healthy enough to have that many decisions. That was probably a colleague of mine said, "Wow, that's not so much about how many games they're going to win, is that you just said that Garrett Crochet is going to have 21 decisions." I'm like, yeah. So, I do think he's going to be good. I think Walker Buehler will be solid, and I think the Red Sox will be better. Good players keep going from the American League to the National League. I don't think it's that hard to make the wild card. And so that then it's kind of a coin flip, and I could just see them kind of getting to that step. I'd be really curious to see if they do that, does that step make them hungrier as an organization to get better and really compete, or do they just think, hey, we made the playoffs, that's all we were really looking for?
Yeah, and that's the kind of attitude that'll make you losers forever. All right, it's all or nothing.
Amen.
We know that in Boston.
Amen.
Yeah. Plus, as far as like Walker Buehler goes and Crochet, it's great that we got them, but can they play in Boston? That's really the key, because that's been like John Lackey, great pitcher, right? Hated playing here. I mean, the some players they get here and they're like, this is crazy. I want to get out of here. So that's really the test.
Lackey and David Price were both guys that were so good, and although in defense of both of them, they were both good playoff pitchers for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, which is a weird thing, because you'd think if you struggle in the regular season, but David Price, for all of his troubles in the playoffs against the Yankees, he figured it out and was outstanding in 2018 down the stretch. He probably should have been the World Series MVP.
Yeah. All right, and finally, you think Aaron Rodgers is going to retire this year after a very disappointing stint with the Jets?
I do. I think he's done. He looked pretty good yesterday. I didn't watch a ton of it. I was writing about Jerod Mayo and things at that point. But he was better yesterday than he's been. But he's such, for a guy that will command a lot of money and create a lot of headaches, he was not nearly good enough to want to kind of make him the face of most teams' organizations. I don't know who wants him unless there's a team that say gets a quarterback injury early or injured in the playoffs and things. Well, maybe this guy can come in. I have a hard time picturing it. I think his personality mixed with his atrophy he's probably done. And
you're actually predicting also that he's probably going to end up hosting some kind of sports politics conspiracy podcast. Good prediction.
I see that happening.
That
might happen even if he doesn't retire.
Right, that's true. He's kind of already doing that a little bit. I see him as being the first host of a sports focused Jeopardy type of show, because we know he loves Jeopardy. He hosted Jeopardy. I think he's going to go for that, but in more a sports thing, and one of the sports networks is going to carry that. And then
sadly, they've tried that twice and it's failed. In fact, this is completely useless information. I was in the candidate pool when they canceled the show.
Oh, really?
So
wow.
I was, believe it or not.
Oh,
and
boy.
They can't. I did the tryout and all that stuff, and then they just canceled it. There's Dan Patrick posting it at the time.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right. Wow, they
take
really
that for what it's worth.
They missed out on Westboro's Matt Vautour. I think he's going to do a podcast, but it's going to be called the Aaron Rodgers Trip, and he's going to be doing it while he's under the influence of his own line of magic mushrooms.
The ayahuasca there, yeah, for sure.
yeah. All right. Well, again, we'll keep these, Matt, and we'll talk to you next year, and we'll find out. I mean, you did really well last year. I was very impressed.
I'm putting you in my calendar for early January right now.
Okay. All right. Matt Vautour, you can read his work, MassLive.com, Westboro's Matt Vautour. Matt, thanks for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. Happy New Year.